Okay, now you should be able to hear me. Sorry about that, everybody. Okay, I had to reset the program so we could get chat going on this morning. You should be able to hear me now. As I was mentioning, we have a gorgeous sunrise taking shape here this morning. We also are going to be talking about Witcher's Adventures coming up here in just a few minutes. That's a live look there at Fox Road Marina. And again, another beautiful view from the East Tennessee weather camera. So a nice start to the day. Whew! When I have to reset it, I forget that I have to change one little tiny button. Anyways, we digress. We move right along. Hopefully you enjoyed yesterday. Today is going to be just a little bit more humid than what we were yesterday morning as well. So let's go ahead and get to work with the forecast here for the day today. As we talk about temperatures here this morning, we are trending about the same as what we were yesterday morning. So not a big change in those temperatures. We're now currently in the low, mid, and upper 60s, a lot more comfortable in Fentress County with a temperature of 69 degrees, a lot more uncomfortable in Chattanooga with a temperature now of 73. Fog's not a major player here to get the day started, so no issues there. Let's talk about the forecast ahead of us today. Lunchtime temperatures will just be a little bit warmer than what we were yesterday at this hour. We'll be at about 83 degrees by noon with our forecast high today in the upper 80s to low 90s. So another toasty day ahead of us today, but fairly average. However, things will continue to change throughout the day today. And we're going to hang on to those 90s all the way through about the evening rush hour, 6 o'clock, right around 91, 87 degrees right there at about 8 o'clock here tonight. And by 10 o'clock, we'll still be in the low 80s. But this big ridge of high pressure is the dominating weather feature, I should say, that's going to bring us the heat. So it's the upper level ridge that brings us the heat, the subsidence, the sinking air. That's what's going to limit our rain chances here over the next couple of days. But at the surface, as we head through the next several days and round out the week and head into the weekend, a surface ridge of high pressure is shifting across the eastern seaboard, and that's going to pump in a lot of Gulf and Atlantic moisture. Now, there is a cold front on the way, and this cold front's expected to spill in a few scattered showers and thunderstorms as we get into our Saturday. But again, it does not look like it's going to be a major player bringing us abundant rainfall. Unfortunately, I know a lot of you want the rain. A lot of we all need the rain, but it just doesn't look too likely that we're going to see a ton of rain. And remember, I've said this over the last couple of days that the Climate Prediction Center is talking about the possibility of a rapid onset of drought conditions, and that's fairly likely if we don't get any rain anytime soon. Dew points climb from the mid-60s today into the mid-70s for the upcoming weekend. So what does that mean? Well, that means more heat and humidity is going to continue to build its way on into the area. So we're talking heat index values in the low 90s today, air temperatures in the upper 80s to low 90s. So not much of a heat index value today, but we'll start to see those heat index values pick up as we get into our Wednesday, Thursday, the 4th of July. It's going to be pushing close to 100 degrees for those heat index values. We're going to hang on to those heat index values on Friday. Now, notice the top left-hand side of your screen. Here comes a frontal boundary. That's going to shut off those heat index values across the Great Plains on Friday and then kind of start to shut them down across the Ohio Valley and Kentucky. Although I think Saturday we'll hang on to the heat index values and we'll likely have that again on into our Sunday. Rain chances, 0% rain chances, really, over the next couple of days. We'll start to elevate those. I'm only going about a 20% chance for afternoon showers and thunderstorms on Thursday. So the 4th of July looks to be fantastic, as we're not looking at a huge chance for a ton of rain. Rain chances do increase or elevate anyways Friday into Saturday as that cold front approaches the area. So through tomorrow evening, maybe a couple of spotty showers and thunderstorms across the Cumberland Plateau. Through the end of the week, though, we're likely to see a little bit more, but as you can see, we're likely most to see less than a quarter of an inch of rain. So again, I just don't think we have a huge threat for a whole lot of rainfall across the area all the way through Friday. We'll probably elevate that Friday night into Saturday, and then kind of fade it away again on into our Sunday. The heat's going to be with us, though. Temperatures an average high for this time of year is 88 degrees. So we're fairly right there in the middle of summer, right there at the hottest part of the summer anyways, and we're going to be trending just a little bit hotter than that. So with the 4th of July being just 2 days away, temperatures going about 93 degrees, so let's talk about that fireworks forecast. It's going to be a muggy one for sure. Minimal chances for showers and thunderstorms, so I don't necessarily think that thunderstorms will be a major player in those outdoor events. Whether you're going down to festival on the 4th or having your own festivals in your own communities, I do think that it's going to be a rather toasty but muggy but typical July 4th day. will be right around 92 degrees by 6. That puts our heat index value about 95 or so by 6 o'clock at night. Then as we get closer to sundown, again, sun doesn't set. I mean, it stays lighter a lot later, doesn't it? Last night we were hanging out on the front porch till about 8:45. And we're like, all right, time to get everyone into bed here. But it was still bright outside. It still felt really nice and comfortable outside last night, especially if you were in the shade. Felt really good. By 10 o'clock, though, on the 4th of July, we'll be right around 8 o'clock. So as we wrap up all the festivities by 10 o'clock, looks like temperatures will fall into the low 80s. Now, I know it says the chance of rain. I don't necessarily think that we'll have a huge threat for a lot of rain. So, again, don't cancel any plans. Just monitor the forecast, but minimal chances for showers and thunderstorms. Low temperatures come up as well, so it's going to be warm and muggy over the next few mornings. If you want to get out and do any yard work, mow the yards, first thing in the morning is going to be the best time to do that. And the witchers have to keep weeding, and I have to finish mulching. I'm going to try to do that today. Didn't get a chance to do that yesterday because of Witcher's Adventures, which I'll highlight here in a moment. Let's talk about the tropics for a second. Boy, oh boy, not only is this the first major hurricane this early in the season, it's the first one that developed to the east of the Lesser Antilles. It became a Category 5 hurricane with a 5 a.m. update late last night, early this morning. A Cat 5, just south of where the Witchers were on vacation in St. John and the U.S. and British Virgin Islands. And so had we been there this week, things would have been a totally different story, right? Because the outer bands of that storm system were swinging their way through St. John and St. Thomas. And, of course, the waves would be incredible because with the Cat 5, those waves are going to extend so much further out. It is going to push right over Jamaica, work its way towards the Caribbean, through the Caribbean, I should say, towards the Gulf of Mexico, and make landfall probably somewhere between Belize and Cancun. But there are some caveats because there is a ridge of high pressure that's going to be the steering mechanism. So the steering winds with this system keeps it further to our south thanks to high pressure to hanging on across the continental U.S. But there are some possible deviations with this, and there are always going to be some deviations with tropics, especially when you're talking about 5, 6, 7 days out. Listen, if high pressure holds stronger across the southeastern U.S., that's going to allow for some steering winds to maybe bring that a little bit further to the north into the Bay of Campeche or maybe even the Gulf of Mexico. So Texas still is not out of the woods with this system. It all depends on this ridge of high pressure that's hanging out over the southeastern U.S. If it stays a little bit on the weaker side, it looks like maybe the storm system will be a little bit further to the south because, again, you're looking at the steering winds in the atmosphere. So that's kind of what we're looking at for the hurricane, if you're interested in that at all. Again, it doesn't necessarily look like it's going to make landfall in the U.S., but subject to change. And again, Texas, I think, will be the bullseye for that if we were to see it swing its way further to the north. The Climate Prediction Center is still predicting the possibility of above average temperatures through the 12th and maybe all the way through the 16th. So this goes from 6 to 10 and then 8 to 14 days out. So this is your 8 to 14 day temperature outlook. So we're trending above average all the way through the next 7 days, likely to be the 6 to 10 day outlook, and likely to hang strong for the 8 to 14 day outlook. When it looks at precipitation, well, there are some weak signals saying maybe we'll see some elevated precipitation through the first couple weeks of July. Not this week anyways, but as we get into the 6 to 10, 8 to 14 day outlook. So if you're new to the platform this morning, good morning. Welcome to Wake Up with Witcher. If you don't have the East Tennessee Weather app, you should download it today. It's 100% free. Gives you all the weather information you need to know for East Tennessee weather and beyond, because it goes above and beyond that. I do want to take a quick picture of the severe weather outlook because this cold front that's going to be approaching the area will produce some severe weather across the Great Plains for anybody traveling there. We'll see afternoon showers and thunderstorms across the Gulf Coast states. Then as the storm system starts to approach Wednesday and Thursday, it's going to bring us more severe weather across the Great Plains and the Ohio Valley. And then as we go from Thursday into Friday, notice from Memphis through Nashville and into East Tennessee, the Cumberland Plateau, the Northern Plateau, will be under a level 1 risk for strong to severe thunderstorms. Precipitation outlook over the next 3, 5, and 7 days. Again, it just doesn't look like it's going to add up to a whole lot. This is a broad brush forecast, but it does look like we are going to stay relatively dry. Really, when you look at our rainfall forecast, or rainfall accumulations over the last 7 days, Upper East Tennessee and the Cumberland Plateau have been the ones that have gotten the majority of the rain. We have picked up 1 inch of rain officially at McGee-Tyson Airport over the last 7 days. So much needed for sure. And we'll see what the U.S. Drought Monitor does here this week on Thursday. It comes out every Thursday around 9 o'clock in the morning. Right now, we do have abnormally dry conditions around the area, but normal conditions from Union County to Knox, Blount, Sevier, Jefferson, and parts of Cocke and Hamlin County. So at least we've got that going for us. All right, so how's everyone doing this morning? Did you enjoy the day yesterday? Did you embrace it yesterday evening? This morning feels nice outside. And again, we have that nice sunrise taking shape here this morning. I'll show you what it looks like again from Maryville and Blount County and also from Union County, where we've got a gorgeous blue skies here this morning. Anybody wants to head up to Sevier County into downtown Gatlinburg, a nice quiet start to the day as well. Apologize for the no sound. I had to reset my system so I could get the chat back on there this morning, but we got it back up and running. So that's all that matters. So I'm sure people will come in and say, okay, there's no sound, I'm out. So, well, they missed a good time. That's all I'm saying. So Witcher's Adventures yesterday. So a lot of you tried to guess on social media. I said, where am I? A lot of you guessed Hamlin County Airport or Morristown Airport. Some of you guessed Downtown Island Home and McGee-Tyson Airport. No, I was not at either of those. I was actually down in Monroe County, at the Monroe County Airport, KMNV, a very beautiful airport in Monroe County, just outside of Sweetwater in Athens. Visited my good friend Tom McCosh down there, who always has the broadcast on at the airport there and really is a good supporter of East Tennessee weather. But yes, my friends, a new camera is coming to the market, and you'll be able to watch airplanes take off and land. And the way we've got it mounted up there, you'll be able to get the sunrises, we'll be able to get sunsets, and watch airplanes. It's going to be a lot of fun. Had a little tech issues with the camera yesterday, so it is not officially installed, so it is not ready to go yet. But hopefully we'll get that updated here real soon. So a new one coming to the market in Monroe County. It's going to be a lot of fun to be able to get on there and be able to show you the airplanes coming and going. And eventually, again, those are going to be coming to YouTube, the East Tennessee website, and of course, the East Tennessee app itself. All right, what do we got going on here this morning? Anybody say anything good this morning? Everyone's saying good morning to each other. Kimberly's phone is all screwed up this morning. Thank you, Starlene. I sure hope you have a great day as well. You're welcome, Larry. And don't forget, a wealth of weather information is also online at easttnweather.com on my daily blog. That is updated already for the day today. There's some hurricane information on there as well. And, of course, your fireworks forecast. But it does look like it's going to be great. It's funny. A lot of the chat going on across parts of the neighborhoods. And Victoria is saying that this morning as well. I got to hear fireworks around 11 o'clock last night. I was sound asleep. Wait, you got to hear fireworks last night? At least your glass is half full, Victoria. You got to hear them. You get to, right? We're blessed to be able to experience things every single day. That's one thing that somebody told me at one of my jobs a while back. I said, he goes, what are you doing the rest of the day? I said, I got to go home. I have to go home and take care of my kids. He goes, no, you don't have to. You get to. You get to go home, enjoy the rest of your day with your kids. How full is your glass? Is it half full or is it half empty? Are you a pessimist or an optimist? What are you? So we get to experience that. I will say, it's funny. I took one of my kids with me to the airport yesterday, and he was like kind of grumbling, going, I don't really want to go, Dad, but okay, I guess I'm going to go. He was pretty quiet and pretty shy to get the day started down at the airport. And when you go to these small airports, it's family. Everybody down there is family. Even though people come from all over the country to land at these small airports. Actually, there's a gentleman coming in from Chattanooga, and he was on his way to Connecticut. And so we stopped into the airport real quick, wanted to see it, wanted to say hi, wanted to check in on the events that are going on at the airport because I believe it's twice a month or the second Saturday of every month. I forget exactly what it is, but Monroe County Airport has a fly-in breakfast. And Tom and the crew cooked breakfast for everybody. That's a donation. But last time they had it, he said they had about 100 airplanes fly in for the fly-in breakfast. So it took my son a little bit of time to warm up. Next thing you know, he's warming up. He's talking to Tom, and he just said, and I got done. We got done. We started driving home, and I said, "Well, how was that? Did you have fun?" He goes, "Man, that was so awesome. I got to see airplanes take off and land." And one of the guys that has a plane there, he took us out to see his awesome airplane. And my son sat in the front seat of it, and it was just a lot of fun to be able to experience that. Actually, let me show you a couple photos. How about I show you a couple photos, shall we? Let's see if we can't get this on there. So, this is my son at one of the airplanes. By the way, that's his new favorite shirt. I bought that when I was in Denver. What was it, last week or so? So he had a fun time doing that, and then he got to sit in the cockpit, which was really cool. So again, everybody is just so nice at these small airports. They're nice at all airports, but they're just so nice at all the airports. And this is what I post on social media in case you missed it. I said, what airport? Where am I? Where am I? And if you zoomed in really, really close, you may have been able to read that was the Monroe County Airport. It's always fun to go down to these airports and talk to everybody. Let's see, what else we got? I think that was about it. That was about it for the Witcher's Adventures. Yeah. Had some great photos being shipped in through the East Tennessee Weather app over the last 24 hours. I'll share those with you. I had a great sunset. Did you happen to catch that sunset last night? It was amazing. How about this one? This is a great sunset from last night. This was sent in by Melissa Belandris maybe. Sunset in Lanier, Tennessee on the 1st of July. So that was a great one. Thanks, Melissa, for sending that one in. We had another great one from Deborah Munson. This was a Granger County sunset last night. We had enough high-level clouds out there. There's wispy cirrus clouds presenting us with some nice color in the sky. We had another great one coming in from Carolyn Ray in Halls. So Carolyn Ray uploaded this through the Witcher's Pictures link in the East Tennessee Weather app. And again, it's a great, easy way to share your photos. Look at that one. That was a cool one as well. So great photos coming in through the Witcher's Pictures link and the East Tennessee Weather app. All right, my friends. Shall we talk about the holidays of the day today? Yesterday was National Ginger Snap Day. We only have 2 holidays for the day today. So we've got National Wildland Firefighter Day. Big shout out to those guys. Big shout out to those guys. It is fire season. California, Colorado. So big shout out to those wildland firefighters. You know, I almost became a meteorologist for the smoke jumpers. I had the opportunity to apply for the job to become a meteorologist for the smoke jumpers, and that would have been an incredibly cool, but actually incredibly hot, incredibly cool job. Didn't apply for it because I wanted to stay in TV and I didn't want to go chase wildfires, knowing that I had family and stuff like that. But it's also an extremely tough job. And while I do give you the forecast every single day, and I want to keep everyone up to date on severe weather, inclement weather, and keep you all safe, I think it's a totally different story when you're talking about keeping firefighters safe, because the meteorology that's involved with firefighting is just insane. Because you can get lightning showing up with these fires that show up in these big giant clouds of smoke. You get the winds to shift, and you have to keep these guys safe, guys and gals, safe as they jump into the fires. And man, what a stressful job that is. All right, so National Anisette Day. Not quite sure what that is. Let's see what that is. July 2nd, we recognize, it's a liqueur derived from the aniseed. Yeah. So I love, if you like black licorice, which we do, the witchers like black licorice, anise is an amazing flavor if you happen to like that. So it's National Anisette Day. All right. That's all we got for the day today. That is it, my friends. Let's see if there's anything going on. Yesterday, remember we had an accident on the interstate. Today, the interstate is smooth sailing. So no issues on the interstate here at this hour, but we'll take you right back to that and show you what it looks like. That's a live look there at 40 and West Hills. Lots of sun glare out there at this hour, but again, no issues on the roads to speak of here this morning. So not much going on in the weather department. See what you all are saying. Let's see. Linda says, "Here, good morning, everyone in Maryville. Nice and cool, comfortable this morning. Great start to the day. Feels amazing outside." Again, Victoria got to hear fireworks. We heard fireworks last night. Actually, our son came into our bedroom after we all crawled into bed and was like, "Dad, I can't go to sleep." And I was like, "Why?" He's like, "There's fireworks and it's making my room light up. And I can hear the sound. How am I supposed to sleep with all that?" And I said, "Well, you're going to have to contend with it because the fireworks will be ongoing for all the way through the week, I'm sure." I'm sure it is. Tootie just saw her first cicada. Something that Tom and I were talking about yesterday. How many of you actually seen a lot of fireflies or fireflies lately? Anybody? I have not seen a lot of fireflies. And he also said, and the other thing that we've noticed that we've not seen a lot of butterflies recently as well. So he was wondering if that had something to do with the weather. And I said, I'm sure, but I don't know exactly. But I've not seen a lot of fireflies as well. But I don't typically stay up too much past dark anyways these days. Oh, there we go. Linda's heading to Knoxville today and Charleston, South Carolina later this week, hoping for some good weather. I think it's going to be fantastic with this ridge of high pressure dominating. I think it's going to be hot and toasty in South Carolina. That's for sure. Brian says his glass is half full. His glass is full every day, I should say. Not just half full, it's full every day. Like the attitude, Brian. Absolutely. You let me know, Kimberly. Message me, Mike at easttandweather.com. Does your son work on the planes or on airplanes? Watch your spelling there, Kimberly. Semantics, right? Your youngest son, Robert, wants to learn how to fly planes. You should definitely do it. If he wants to do it, encourage that. Again, that's one thing that I just did not get a good advice growing up. When I was 17 years old, I was told to either buy an airplane or join the Air Force. That was the only advice I had at 17. Had I been walked through the process of obtaining a private pilot's license and moving forward with aviation, I would not be here today. I would be flying airplanes, and I would have a totally different life, wouldn't I? But it is a lot of fun, and there's this freedom that you experience when you get up off the ground, and you're like, all right. And then when you get up off the ground, you're like, well, the only thing I can do right now is just keep this plane up. And I have to land. Takeoffs are optional, but landings are mandatory. Good old aviation phrase there. What time is the rain going to come on Friday? Probably later in the afternoon once we heat up the air and the cold front approaches the area. So probably the afternoon. I'll have a better idea with that when we get into our short range model forecasting. But right now, probably just the afternoon. So. He works on planes across from Sevier County High School. I knew what you meant. I'm just giving you a hard time, Kimberly, because you give me a hard time too. Yes, they are. Firefighters are no matter whether they're wildland firefighters or firefighters on a daily basis, they are special humans for sure. Firefighters are awesome people. I'm glad they do it. We wouldn't be. My neighbor is a firefighter up in Sevier County. And it's fun. It's not funny. It's crazy. I've been to, when I was a journalist and back in the day, I was a photographer for the local news. And one of my very first stories I ever went on in the news was a forest fire in Grand Junction, Colorado, or on the western slope of Colorado. And we were covering it for about a week straight. So we were driving back and forth, and it was a long ways away, back and forth. And there was one day that we were at the top of the ridge, and once they allowed the TV crews to come in and get some video, do some interviews, and get close to the front lines, not on the front lines, but close to the front lines. All of a sudden, some guys came running over. They said, "Everybody get out! Everybody out now!" So we piled up in the truck and hightailed it on out of there. Everybody got out of there because the fire came up over the ridge. And literally probably about 2 to 3 hours after we left the spot that we were at, the fire came and engulfed that entire area. So It was a crazy experience, and being in the news and being a photographer, and of course being fresh out of college and heading off to these stories and doing these kind of stories was just an experience I can never explain. It is. I've got a lot of great footage from back in the day on some of these fires. Your grandpa's friend had a plane. I was a little girl the first time I flew. Loved it. Actually, I know several people that have never been in airplanes. And we've got some friends that just flew last Friday, I guess it was. They went on a Disney cruise. They're on a Disney cruise now, I should say. And their kids have never been on an airplane. And I was asking their son, I was like, hey, are you excited? He goes, man, I'm pumped. I said, good, because aviation is amazing. There's nothing better, in my personal opinion, than getting up in an airplane. Now, my other neighbors across the street, they refuse to fly. I don't know why. They drive everywhere they go. And I'm like, you're crazy. You're crazy. My whole goal from here on out is to get back in an airplane. I've not been in an airplane for a couple of years due to the fact that it just costs a lot of money. I started East Tennessee weather. Don't have any money. Don't have any time. But my goal is here eventually to get back in the airplane and use it as a means of transportation. And while I'm never going to be a professional pilot now, I want to use that as a means of transportation because you can get down to the Gulf of Mexico and be on the beach in 2.5 hours, 3 hours max. And then you get to fly it yourself at anywhere from 3,500 feet in elevation to all the way to 9,000 feet in elevation. And it's just, there's something really cool about it that you just can't explain until you do it. And I think general aviation actually brings a better experience to aviation in general because when you fly on a commercial airlines, of course, they fly up to 35,000 feet. 35,000 feet, you get on your phones, your iPads, you start watching movies, you don't really pay attention to what's going on around you. Plus, even if you're way up there, it's like, you see the world below you, but it just has a different feel and a different experience when you're flying at 3,000 feet. It's bumpier. It's more fun. You get to experience the world in a totally different view, and you just can't explain it. Unless you've been in a small airplane, you just can't explain it. Angela says, we are having family 4th of July on Saturday. I love family time. It is the best, isn't it? Family time is the best. Scott Denny says, we're seeing more lightning bugs this year. All right. Well, we are not where I live. I've seen maybe one or two. Jerry says they've got fireflies. My hummingbirds aren't as busy as usual. Probably too hot for them. Lightning bugs, fireflies, You say tomato, I say tomato. Okay. But few butterflies because lots of lack of food sources, says Mel, and some overuse of pesticides. It's the pesticides. The bees, the butterflies, they land on the flowers. They land on the plants that we spray down. If you spray, that's why I will never have yard of the year, yard of the month, yard of the week. Now, while my yard still looks decent, it's never going to be perfect because I refuse to put down any fertilizer or anything like that. My wife was actually telling me the other day. She goes, "We need to do something to our yard. We've got weeds growing in it and stuff like that." I go, "It's just green. It's not all weeds. It really isn't." And I said, "No, I'm not going to put down fertilizer. So if you want to, you can, but I don't want to." You've had more butterflies at your house this year. Fireflies are normal, but did not stay long. I got you, Kimberly. You sat outside last night? Sat outside for a while? Watching them, says Cheryl. Brenda says she's not seen too many butterflies. Good for you, Krista. No matter what your kids do, you got to support them in their dreams and aspirations and endeavors, right? That's what makes us different. That's what makes the world go round. You've said that before, Krista. You're way different than your parents. But I think that's a good thing. We don't have to be exactly like our parents. Actually, one of the things said is I don't want to be my dad. I don't want to be like my dad. Although my wife tells me every once in a while, Steve, Mike, my dad's name is Steve. Steve, Mike, quit being your dad. Well, the apple, what is it? They say the apple doesn't fall far from the tree, right? Brenda's not seen too many fireflies this year. Ah, congratulations, Felicia. Got her stitches out yesterday. And the restrictions have been removed. That's amazing. Julie loves to fly. It's the best. One day I'll take you up, Julie. One day I'll take you up. I have to get, I'm not current right now. So, every 2 years you got to go back and get your currency. And I did not do that a couple years ago. It was actually April 27th would have been 2 years since I had flown. Didn't go back and get my currency because in aviation, you never lose your license. You never lose your private pilot's license or any of them. You just have to go get back and get retrained. And you got to stay current because aviation is all about understanding what could go wrong. Flying's easy. That's the easy part. Takeoffs are easy. Landings are hard, and anything that could go wrong in the plane, you've got to be prepared for that. One of the first times I flew a friend. I think I told you the story not too long ago, but I'll tell it again. I think I had just gotten my license 2020. A friend of mine had a funeral to go to in Dixon, Tennessee. And so I'm flying out there, brand new pilot, flying he and his nephew to Dixon, Tennessee. We flew over the Nashville airspace. I switched over from Nashville's ATC to the Memphis Center because there's different areas that you have to switch your radios. And all of a sudden, the plane starts sputtering. We're probably about 4,500 feet up. And I was like, oh, no, that's not a good sound. That's not a good feeling. Nerve-wracking for sure. So I do my checks, and I check all around. I'm like, I got gas. Everything seems to be fine. I don't know what could be wrong. Plane got back, and it was fine. Did it again. And I was like, oh, okay, do my checks again. What could possibly be wrong? Why is my plane doing this? And so I ended up getting on to the radios and saying, hey, Memphis Center, 889er, here's the thing. I'm having some sputtering issues with my engine. Not quite sure what's wrong, trying to figure it out. I'm not declaring an emergency right now, but I want you to know that we are having some engine troubles. So I'll keep you posted on that. I said, I'm going to actually climb an altitude because altitude is your friend in aviation. The higher you are, the more time you have to navigate an issue before you land on the ground. And long story short, and then all of a sudden my buddy was looking around, and when you have in aviation, some airplanes pull gas from both wings, right? So the gas is in the wings of the airplanes. And so some airplanes pull from both sides at the exact same time. Well, the airplane I was flying, you had to switch tanks. And when you go on these long trips, every 45 minutes, you're supposed to set a timer, and every 45 minutes, you switch to the other wing. Start pulling from gas from that wing. That was the one thing I didn't do. I forgot to switch my fuel from one wing to the other. So I ran out of fuel in my right wing, and my buddy who was with me said, hey, are you supposed to switch that? And I go, oh my gosh, of course I am. So I switched it. I called ATC and I said, I'm going to keep altitude just to be on the safe side, but I think I figured out the problem. I didn't switch my gas tank. And so I landed the plane in Dixon, and the guys come out from the airport because they're always so nice at these small airports. Comes out and he goes, you guys okay? I started laughing. I said, well, we are now. He goes, yeah, I understand you had some issues up there. He goes, Memphis Center Air Traffic Control called me and said, hey, just let us know when he lands safely. So ATC, Air Traffic Control, are amazing people. They do a very tough job. It can be intense up in the airplane sometimes, but I made it to the ground. The other time, as I flew the airplane, I've had two incidents. And I went to take the airplane out, and the instructor whose plane it was said, hey, listen, I'm my front tire keeps losing air. I'm not quite sure. I got to get a new tire on it. How long are you going to be gone for? And I was like, I'm going to be gone for 45 minutes. He goes, don't be longer than that. He goes, probably max an hour. And I said, oh, that's fine. We'll just fly out and come right back. Landed the plane. When you pull off the runway, you get into an area where you actually call that you're off the runway to let other folks know that they can come onto the runway, because only one plane's allowed on the runway at a time, technically. And so I pulled off, started cleaning up the plane, get my flaps up, making sure everything's good, and then you start taxiing to the hangars. The plane wouldn't go anywhere. I was like, why is the plane not going anywhere? And I was like, oh no, I wonder if I have a flat tire. But little did I know that when you have a flat tire in an airplane, the plane just won't go. And so we shut down the plane, got out and looked at it, and sure enough, I had a flat front tire on the airplane. Good thing is you land on your back tires, not the front tire. And so it was during COVID. And so the the airport, DKX, had different hours because of COVID, so they were closed for the day. Like, nobody was there. But if you've ever been down to downtown Island Home, we have the sheriff's office there, the ones who fly the helicopters. And they were there. So I walked in there and they're like, Witcher, what are you doing? I was like, well, guys, I got a flat tire out there. Can you help me out? They're like, yeah, we can help you out. They pulled out an air compressor out to my airplane and we pumped up the tire. I was able to taxi back to the hangars and everything worked out just fine. But I've had two little incidents that, listen, that's why I said in aviation, something's bound to go wrong at some point, especially in general aviation, and especially if you fly all the time, that you just need to know how to navigate around those issues. So if your kids, grandkids, whatever, are interested in aviation, encourage them. It is a lot of fun. But those are my two little stories. Christo, you wanted to be a wrestler, and my parents never supported me in it, so I will always support my children's dreams. That's amazing. Betty, you ain't flying, huh? Come on. Flying is so fun. By the way, it's 7:41. Wendy loves to fly. Mel's first flight was to be to Australia in high school. Sadly, never got my passport back in time. Boo. That is our goal. Actually, my one of my bucket list places to go to visit is Australia. I had an Australian exchange teacher like in 3rd grade, and I just fell in love with the accent. I fell in love with Australian rules football. I fell in love with what Australia represented and the beautiful scenery that they have. So that is our bucket list. And so we were talking to our kid not too long ago, and we were saying, hey, well, what would you like to do for graduation? Would you like a graduation trip or something like that? He goes, yeah, I want to go to Australia. I said, boom, done deal, my friend. So hopefully, let's see, he's going into 5th grade, so 5th, 6th. So what? We got 7 more years to save up some money because it's expensive to go to Australia, and you have to take a lot of time off. So we've got 7 years to save up for this graduation trip and a family trip of a lifetime to Australia. So we've already started saving for that. Mark, do it, my friend. Do it. Getting my private pilot's license is on my bucket list. Just have to make the time. That's the thing. Time and money, of course. So it's going to cost about $12,000 to $15,000 to get your private pilot's license. And you can do it within a month. You can do it within 6 months to a year. But I'll tell you this, a little piece of advice, Mark, or anybody else wanting to get their PPL, is that's your private pilot's license, is you need to dedicate at least 3 days a week to go fly. And that way you'll get in and out of it much faster. You'll save money, and you'll be a lot more proficient in an airplane. If you only go once a week, it's not worth it. You're going to spend a lot more money because you need that muscle memory on learning what to do inside of an airplane and how to do it. But I would highly recommend doing it, Mark. Really, really, you will not regret it. I promise you that. No, it was a liqueur, but I love licorice. So I did that actually, Mel. I actually did a 50-50 yard one time. 50% clover, 50% grass, because that way you never have to fertilize, right? Clover actually produces nitrogen for grass to grow. And so they work synonymously together to grow. Plus, clover doesn't grow very tall, and it's a lot softer than grass. So 50-50 clover to grass is always a good thing. I mean, a lot of us try to get rid of the clover if you want beautiful grass, but actually you don't have to fertilize if you use clover. You've got a few videos of lightning bugs early in the evening, but it needs to be dark for them to really show up on video. Yeah. I know video never just does it justice. You're like, oh my gosh, look at this picture. Well, it looked better in person. Our eyes are better than some of the photographs, aren't they? Your backyard's full of fireflies, are they? Tammy Reed, I sure hope you have a great day. Well, Betty, you cannot think of like the worst. Listen, do you drive a car? There are worse things that can happen in a car. I'm just going to say that. Krista, I'm not going to put that on camera. But there you go. Love it. Good way to start the day, I suppose. How high can I go on an airplane? There are rules. If you don't have oxygen, you can't go past 12,000. I think it's 12,500 for more than 30 minutes. If you don't have oxygen on board your airplane. Other than that, you can go up to about, and it depends on the airplane itself. Some airplanes just won't go that high. I was talking to the guy yesterday. His airplane will barely get to about 9,000 feet. And it struggles because remember, you lose air, you lose oxygen to feed everything through the airplane. So some airplanes can't go that high. But if you go above 12,500, I believe that's the number. Maybe it's 15,000, but I think it's 12,500. You have to have oxygen on board. And then if you go up to, see if I get my aviation right. It's been a long time. There's different classes of airspace. Class A airspace is where jets and airplanes fly, where you can fly. There's really no speed limit up there. That's where commercial airlines fly. And so you can't take certain airplanes that high. Katrina made it to work. Whoop, whoop. Katrina, I sure hope you have a great day as well. Longest flight you ever took was to Russia. I would imagine that is a very, very long flight. No, I cannot. I can't fly to Hawaii. But I've always wanted to fly down to the Florida Keys. And you have to stop in Florida, and you have to pick up life vests. You have to have life vests on board if you want to fly down to the Florida Keys. But I've heard they treat you like a king if you fly down to the Florida Keys. Like, roll out the red carpet when you land at these small airports. They just love to have you there. I'm not licensed to fly at all right now. And yes, there are different rules for flying at night than during the day. I was licensed to fly at night. But you have to have 3 takeoff and landings after sunset and before sunrise. That's all you have to do, actually, Chris. You just have to have 3 takeoff and landings, at nighttime to be able to fly at nighttime. Ooh, that would be amazing. My best flight was during the Northern Lights in the Finger Lakes. Can't beat seeing those in the air. I can only imagine. That would be amazing, Michelle. This is true, Cheryl. You are safer in an airplane than you are in a car. Have that conversation with my wife all the time, but she's like, yeah, there's a lot more cars on the road than there are airplanes. True, but you're still safer. Can planes race in the sky? Sure. You can fly formations. I have actually flown formations before. And so flying in a formation is extremely difficult because once an airplane's going, you have momentum, right? And so there's no brakes in an airplane. And so once you fly, it's hard to get those airplanes to fly together. So whenever you go to an air show or whatever, and you see these airplanes flying so close together in formation, that is incredible skill to have. Yeah, Chicago O'Hare usually is a little bit of a nightmare. It is indeed. All right, it's 7:49, and we are going to wrap things up here this morning. We'll cue the music, nice, quiet, calm music here this morning. It's a beautiful start to the day, so if you need to get out and enjoy the weather here this morning or need to get out and do anything, I would highly recommend doing it now before the heat starts to build. Remember, the heat and humidity is going to continue to build this week. Minimal chances for showers and thunderstorms. A cold front's going to approach by the end of the week into the upcoming weekend. We'll be talking about that. I'll also give you all the latest information from Hurricane Beryl that is barreling through the Caribbean into towards the Yucatan Peninsula in Jamaica. Category 5 hurricane for the National Hurricane Center with their 5 a.m. update. Thanks for joining me this morning. Sorry for a few issues here to get the day started, but hey, 'tis the season. 'Tis what we do. But I'm glad you joined us this morning for Wake Up with Witcher. Don't forget, tomorrow morning, 7 o'clock, Wake Up with Witcher, and I'll be posting more on social media throughout the day today as well. Be safe, be kind to each other. Life is short, my friends. We'll see you back here real soon. See you soon.
You're watching East Tennessee Weather. Weather when you want it.
Good morning. Have a great Tuesday, everybody. It's going to be just a little bit warmer and just a little bit more humid today. But after yesterday, while it was still definitely a toasty day around town, well, at least it felt very comfortable to start the month of July. We know it's not going to last very long, and that story happens this week, actually. Today's temperatures start off with mild conditions. We're in the 60s and 70s. We're going to see those temperatures climb into the low 80s as we get into the lunch hour, and forecast highs will be back in the low 90s. So a little bit warmer today. Well, plenty of sunshine. We'll see a few fair weather cumulus clouds developing throughout the afternoon, but that should be about the extent of it. So across the board, we're back to slightly above average. Average highs are in the upper 80s. We'll be in the low 90s today. Again, a high UV index level. So if you're going to be out and about, make sure that you lather up with some sunscreen, because Sunburn City is definitely going to be with us. And it's going to make for a warm and muggy evening. Now, the humidity will gradually increase throughout the day today. Those temperatures will gradually increase as well. Big upper level ridge continues to slide its way to the southeastern U.S. all the way through the end of the week. And then this ridge is going to flatten just a little bit thanks to a trough that's going to swing its way across the upper Midwest and the Great Plains area. That will eventually allow a cold front to come on through as we head into the upcoming weekend. That cold front's going to be just off to our west as we get into our Saturday morning. But out ahead of it, we got a lot of moisture pumping into the area. It is going to bring us a little bit more of an elevated rain chance, but we're still not talking about a ton of rain. And so the abnormally dry conditions, or rather the drought, if you will continue to build around East Tennessee. Dew points will continue to climb as well. Looks like Friday and Saturday, dew points will be in the mid-70s, so that's going to be the hottest weather. But for the 4th of July, which, by the way, we do have that forecast coming up in just a moment, looks like it's going to be a typical July forecast. So let's talk heat index values for a little bit. Didn't have much of a heat index value yesterday, but those heat index values will be in the low 90s throughout the day today. As that moisture spreads into the southeastern U.S., those heat index values go up. So while we get into our 4th of July on Thursday, we're talking about heat index values pushing the upper 90s to low 100s. That's going to be the story on into our Friday. Cold front to our north Friday, and that should usher in some drier air up across Kentucky and the Ohio Valley for Saturday. We're still going to hang on to those heat index values in the upper 90s to low 100s as we get into the start of our weekend. Like I said, minimal chances for rain, maybe a couple of pop-up showers and thunderstorms on the 4th of July, but it's not anticipating to be a whole lot. We've had worse years, and we've had, well, great years as well. I think this is going to be a pretty good year, although it is going to be hot and muggy. Those rain chances do elevate Friday into Saturday as that cold front swings its way into the area, and then those rain chances will kind of fade away as we get into our Sunday, Monday, but don't cancel any outdoor plans. It looks like just afternoon showers and thunderstorms for the most part. All right, so your rainfall forecast all the way through tomorrow night, again, pretty lackluster. Now, we may start to see a few pop-up showers and thunderstorms. As we round out the week, we may see a little bit more elevated rain chances, but notice the numbers on there. Less than 1/4 of an inch for most locations. And so really just not expected to see a whole lot of rain all the way through Friday, with a little bit more elevated rain chances into the weekend. Temperatures will be right there in the low 90s all the way through the weekend and into the start of next week. So extremely hot weather continues around the area. And speaking of your forecast, let's talk about your fireworks forecast for Thursday night if you're going to be doing any outdoor events. Now listen, if you're heading to downtown Knoxville and you're going to be there for a festival on the 4th, just keep in mind that it is going to be an extremely hot day. Even by 6 o'clock, we're hanging on to low 90s, mid 80s by 8 o'clock, and by 10 o'clock, right around 80 degrees. And so while there is a chance for some spotty showers and thunderstorms, it just doesn't look like it's going to add up to a whole lot. Low temperatures will be elevated as well. We'll be in the 70s all the way through the weekend and into the start of next week. So incredibly hot weather there as well. Let's talk tropics for just a moment of time. By the way, if you got everything you need to know and you don't care about this, have a great day. But we do have Category 5 Hurricane Beryl that's been moving its way into the Caribbean. Okay, south of Cuba and south of the Caribbean islands and north of South America. It is going to weaken as it moves its way through Jamaica, but Jamaica could be making landfall as a Category 3 hurricane and then working its way towards the Yucatan Peninsula by the end of the week, possibly as a Category 1. So you're talking about Belize, Cancun, Mexico. So it is a very powerful storm system that's going to continue to track its way through. And our first hurricane of the season. Now, with the steering winds, we've got high pressure to our north. That is what's keeping this storm system from coming into the Gulf of Mexico, okay? That looks like that's going to be the case here as we wrap up the week. But when you look at the possibility of paths, well, it depends, right? So as high pressure continues to be stronger, Beryl could move a little bit further to the north because high pressure is going to be stronger here, and it may start to swing with those winds from that ridge of high pressure. High pressure a little bit weaker, and well, Beryl stays a little bit further to our south and won't be steered to the north into the Gulf of Mexico. So still yet to be determined on exactly how this all plays out. Where does high pressure shift? If it shifts a little bit further to the east and strengthens, it may curve its way up to, say, parts of Texas. And so something that we're definitely going to be watching here over the next several days. Plus, it's unprecedented to see a major category, a major hurricane anyways, this early in the season, first of all. Second of all, it formed on the eastern side of the Lesser Antilles. Looking ahead, still looking at the possibility of signals anyway, saying, yeah, we may be trending above average when it comes to those temperatures. Precipitation-wise, some weak signals anyway, saying we may see some elevated rain chances all the way through the 16th of July, but it doesn't look like it's going to appear to be a whole lot. So as we progress through the holiday week into the upcoming weekend and each and every day, have a way to receive weather information, check in on your daily and updated forecast every single day. Listen, I do a daily forecast. What you're watching right now is updated online on YouTube, digital, social media, 6 a.m., noon, 5 p.m., and 9 p.m. during the weekday. And on the weekends, it's 7 a.m., noon, 5 p.m., and 9 p.m. So make sure you check that out. Download it today. Go to the Google Play Store, the App Store, and search East TN Weather. All one word. We sure hope you have a great day. We'll see you back here soon.